Hey, welcome back to Duckman Cycles. I'm hitting the bottle again today, and whenever I have a little bit of run, my videos are a little bit more creative, and I take some more risks that tend to turn out to pay good dividends. So behind me here we have my 1956 Volkswagen Beetle, and if you've been watching, you know I've been working on this gas tank in here. And, well, we've got a set of filthy lady shoes in here, and a really dirty bottle of antifreeze. I wonder what that's all about. I guess you're just going to have to stay tuned and watch. Welcome back to Duckman Cycles in VW Garage. I'm your host, the Duckman. We're back today with the gas tank here on my 1956 Beetle. This is a custom chop-top Beetle. We've so affectionately named her Eleanor. And that's the reason why her windshield is so small. Now, if you've been watching my channel, and if you're not brand new, you would know that I rescued this car from absolute junk. I mean, it was a hurricane victim, and it just literally rusted to hell, was left to sit outside for over 10 years, and the car just broke to pieces. It actually split in the middle. So I put this car back together quite literally from pieces. I actually had the body all chopped up into bits, and then I put it back together. I knew I was never going to get it straight, so I did the best I can to build a car completely custom. And Eleanor's her name. But we're working on this gas tank. This gas tank is a blend of new and old. The old 56 Beetle gas tank is welded onto the top of a later Beetle gas tank. And why did I do that? It's so that way this car looks like it's got a vintage tank in it, even though it technically doesn't. And for what it's worth, it ought to give me a little bit more fuel capacity too. We do have a contest currently running on that. Head on over to Duckman Cycles VW Garage on the Facebook page and join the group. Look for the pinned post at the top about the gas tank contest and post your best guess as to how much the capacity of this tank is going to be. He or she who guesses the closest without actually going over will be the winner of a $50 gift certificate. If you like my videos, as always, like, comment, subscribe. Give me that thumbie, and pluck that little dingle belly next to the subscribe button so you get updates every time I upload a new video. Don't forget I have other channels, VV the Duck VV, as well as Duckman Cycles and Skeeter the Duck. Don't miss a thing. Please subscribe to all and join my Facebook group page. Go up to Facebook, search for Duckman Cycles. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Let's get this tank work done. If you watched yesterday's video, you would see that I stripped the thing down and I soaked it up in phosphoric acid to convert the rust, or whatever was left of the rust on it. At this point, I'm not seeing any more red rust. There's a few more paint marks. There's still a little bit of paint remaining on this tank, but I don't think that's going to affect anything. This dust that you see on here, this is just the residue left over from that phosphoric acid. That's a residue from the reaction. It cleans off quite easily. As you see, I'm just brushing it off right here. Anyway, it's not too bad. I had already run my hand over it before I started the camera, so there's not all that much of this dust residue left behind. But the best way to get it off is to just kind of brush it, which gets off the majority of it, and then come back and hit this thing with just a damp rag, not a wet rag, just damp. Now go ahead and wet it, wring it out, let it sit for a few minutes, and then just wipe this thing down. There's no reason to hose the tank down with more water. I don't see that as being necessary in this case, but this metal is now not going to rust, at least not easily anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in the fuel sender here, and we're going to fill this thing up with some water, and we're going to see if along this weld it starts pissing out anywhere. And I'm predicting that there's probably going to be a few holes over here, because yesterday I did see some light. When I looked down inside the filler, I did see a couple pinholes. I would imagine there would probably be a few other around the tank too. I'm not thinking that I made a perfect weld on this thing, being as that I did have a problem with the ground on this, and I made an awful sloppy mess at it the first attempt. The second time around, after I went over the welds again and I ground everything down all nice, everything looks good. There's just a little bit of tune-up needs to be done on this, and very little filler needs to be used. Very little filler. So anyway, I'm proud of this. I think this is going to be good. So let's go ahead and get this thing in here. Now I'm waiting for a brand new seal. I hope this seal, the old seal that was on here, still holds in fluid. I don't know if it will, because it has a crack in it, but it didn't crack all the way through. It's just a bit of it. So we'll see what happens with that, but we're going to put that on. There's a brand new seal that I have coming on the way, and when that arrives, I'll put it on there, and that's when we're going to do the final testing of this tank to figure out what the exact capacity is of it, so that way we can determine exactly who is our $50 winner. So if you guys haven't hit my Facebook page yet, you want to get over there, but we want your input. How much is this tank going to hold? I'll give you a quick walk around one more time. There it is. Alright. Let's start putting that sender together to cap it off. Alright, there's the seal. I got it on the back of the fuel sender. Got the fuel sender down in the hole. And I believe that's the correct orientation, but in this case it really doesn't matter because we're just trying to make it liquid tight. Now some of these screws are the correct ones and some of them clearly are not. This is the way I got the tank. I do have a brand new seal and a brand new set of screws coming for this thing, so I can get this thing all put together properly, and hopefully the fuel sender is good. If not, I know I have a spare one somewhere, brand new in a package. But I did dig around in my junk collection and I have not been able to find it. So we'll see if it turns up soon. But we're going to very, very quickly put this together. I thought those were ambulance sirens, but that was actually police sirens. I did notice with my neighbor a little while ago that down this way, down the street, there were police everywhere. Now, there's still some of them down there. You know, welcome to Pensacola. There's always some kind of escaped fugitive. Yeah, he just turned his lights off. But one of the cops just went rocketing to the right, made a left down that way, right into traffic with his lights on and the siren blailing. Anyways, welcome to Pensacola. There's always some kind of escaped fugitive in this town. I did look at the dispatch and it turned out it was a canine dispatch, but they didn't say why. Hey, back to work on the tank. We've got our sender in there, nice and set, and I'm going to recork the bottom here with something better because the cork that I had on there, unfortunately the acid ate it and it rotted out. It fell right out of there. If I had a plumbing cap, I'd put that on there instead, but I don't have one and I don't feel like going to the hardware store, so let's see what I can find. I couldn't find another cork, so I went ahead and went with the tape method. Got a couple pieces of tape wrapped around there and plugging up the hole, so let's see if that does the trick. Let's go ahead and move this off the driveway, because I don't feel like making a big old puddle over here. Alright, let's go ahead and get this thing filled up. I've got a good feeling that this is going to leak right in here, and it's not even where I welded. I don't think that seal's going to hold. I really don't. Well, my tape plug has a drip about once every 5 seconds or so. It drips one drop. Clearly that's not holding, but that's not a big deal. No crying or whining for me over that one. It's starting to get heavy now. Alright, right now it's full up to my welds. As I said, this sucker's leaking. I knew that was going to. We got a little dribble right here. And we got a squirter on the side over here. The whole length over here, though, is fine. So I got a couple places I need to touch up. I'm gonna let it get a little more full. See if we have any other secret holes in the body here that may have worn through. I should have got a Sharpie so I could mark where these spots are at. But that's not too bad. That sucker's squirting out too. Uh-oh. I hear it's about to pull up here. Honestly, I didn't expect this to be as good as it is. I expected there to be a lot more leaking issues. No, really, I can't do much complaining about that. This is minor detail. The one over here is minor detail. There's no weeping in the back. And it looks like it's weeping right here too. And that is it. Those pinholes that I saw on the back, I think the phosphoric acid actually might have closed them up when it caused the metal to swell when it had the reaction. So nice bonus. That's not what I ever intended to happen. I just kind of got lucky. So anyway, I can hit this with the welder. I'm going to grab a pencil real quick and draw a couple of lines so I know where I need to weld. Alright, so I got these points in here welded, as well as the one over on this side. It turned out most of my problem wasn't actually poor welding, it was poor grinding. I actually cut the weld really thin and ended up making myself a couple of holes in a couple spots. When I went to weld it closed, I actually just blew through it because the metal was so thin. So I had to weld a surrounding area and then bring it together to cover it up and then ground it smooth. And some of the surface area is a little rough because of it, but most of the roughness you're seeing is actually the foaming of the phosphoric acid that I put on here to treat that metal to coat it. Did the same thing on this side. I'm going to pour a little bit on the inside of this tank, tip it up in this direction so that way it gets the inside of here where I've welded, as well as over on this side. I'm going to pull the sender back out of it. I'm going to let this thing sit overnight so that way the phosphoric acid does its job. And tomorrow morning we're going to fill it with some sealer. I've got just a thing right here. Good old splattery red stuff. Pour that down inside this tank, and then slowly let it sit on its side, flip it back over, let it sit on its side. You have to because it's like honey. It moves real slow. You gotta let it coat the inside of it. I'll probably do a couple coats to make sure I get all of it. I don't know how much is in this quart can remaining. We'll see when we open it up. I might have to get a second can. It's always easier to do the job with a little extra. It has a better tendency to coat the inside. And you wind up reusing most of it anyway, because what do? You pour it back in the can. So anyways, like, comment, subscribe. Pluck that little dingle belly next to the video. Don't forget I have other channels. I also have Duckman Cycles, VV the Duck VV, Skeeter the Duck, and I have a Facebook group page where we have a discussion on this going on right now, as well as a contest. How much is this tank going to hold? Head on over to Facebook and do a search for Duckman Cycles. Join the group page, look for the thread. It's the first one pinned on the top, and post your answers to how much is in this. There's a $50 reward at stake. Let's see who the winner's going to be. Make sure you don't guess over. You want to guess under. If you guess exactly the right amount, bonus. But if he gets more than the right amount, sorry, unfortunately, you're just disqualified. Thanks very much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Until next time.
I know you love me. I know you love me. Oh my God. Oh, Eleanor, I love you. I've been in love before, but I know this is the real thing. Oh.